It's not always fun and games for first responders.
05 Central, you show me in pursuit.
But sometimes it is.
Oh my God, he's not wearing pants again.
Sometimes it's dangerous.
Flipping around, look out, look out, look out.
Sometimes it's not.
Antler Boulevard for a snake in a house.
And sometimes it's just plain stupid.
Chihuahua in his lap on a lawnmower.
This is the stupid side of first response.
Dispatch, do I really have to go to that?
This is Code 0.5.
Come in 0.5.
Hey guys, this is Jason along with my co-host Rich, and we're in Victory Brand Studios. I'm glad you didn't say nothing stupid. I didn't have the mics muted.
No, I looked. I was like, oh, yeah, those are lit.
I just leaned into mine, and like sometimes I'll like rest my chin on it or something while I'm reading.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm hoping I wasn't like Darth Vader and into the microphone.
No, but I looked over there and I was like, oh, those are hot. Better not say nothing.
But speaking of doing shit while you're being recorded, that brings me to what I wanted to talk about.
Well, what's that?
Did you see the news of the captain that got pulled over?
Oh man. That fucking guy, man.
Well, you know what? Screw the guy that did it. Yeah, he's being a moron. He's getting what he deserved. But the damn officer that stopped him, you know how, okay, say you're put in that situation where you pull over somebody that's a superior.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you understand the kind of crap that torment you're putting your own self through dealing with all that? And plus the other thing is like, how pissed would you be at your superior for putting you in that situation?
Oh yeah. Yeah. That would be, that guy, man, all he said throughout that whole video was just turn your cam off. Just, yeah. The officer's like, you know, our policy, sir. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just turn it off.
I mean, yeah, freaking kudos to him. I guess this happened on March 12th. And y'all can go out and read the article. I'm not going to mention their names and stuff, but March 12th, he's a homicide investigator.
He's a homicide captain. So I was telling you.
He's pulled over on suspicion of drunk driving by a sergeant. He stopped at 1:30 a.m. He was seen swerving, speeding, and not using his turn signal. Usually when they're intoxicated, they're swerving, not using their turn signal, but they're not speeding. And the video opens the door, and before the sergeant approaches. Oh, okay. So the captain gets out, and sergeant's telling him to get back in his vehicle. And I didn't know this. It says when the captain gets out, he says, and before he could say anything else, the sergeant said, drunk. The captain's eyes were watery. His speech was slurred during the exchange. Body camera footage captures the police captain telling the police officers that he's the captain and repeatedly requests the officer from the same police department to turn off his body camera. And he would tell them, I'm the captain. And they said, what police department? You know, as big as they are, they probably never seen each other.
Yeah.
And then he commands them to turn off their camera.
That's not going to look.
And then he tells him, I can't because our policies. Oh, and then the sergeant even told him, says, I don't care if you're a gangbanger or the president of the United States. If I were to treat you differently than I was to treat some Southside loco or some pedo, how do you think that looks on me? Well, that's true.
They really quoted him on that, didn't they?
Yeah.
They made sure to.
And see, I've read the article, and he said he was over at a friend's house, which was 4 blocks away, and that he only had 4 beers.
Yeah. Intoxilizer determined that was a lie.
Yeah, usually whatever number they tell you, you multiply that by 8, and that's the real number.
Yeah.
So when they say a couple, yeah, it's more like 16.
Yeah.
And then the sergeant was quoted. It says, I've taken an oath to uphold the law, and I don't show favoritism to anyone regardless. And then he asked him, "Are you going to arrest me?" And he said, "Yes, I am." I bet we could get a copy of the report because I'm wanting to know what his BAC was.
I'm sure it'll be released.
Yeah, I'm sure it will eventually. And
But he
that
only had
happened
like 4 beers.
Yeah.
He had 4 beers, but he had like 2 of the Wonder Bread hot dog buns too while he was there. So that compounded. You know what I mean? You know how that goes.
Yeah.
I ate some hot dog buns while I was there.
And see, I've taken some classes before on this, and one of them would say, you know how people think that if you eat and that will sober you up faster, that actually prolongs it. Because whatever you eat absorbs and then holds into the stomach to be digested. So it stays in you faster or longer. And they're like, the only way to sober up is with time. So if you've had 4 beers, you need to wait, at least 4 hours for that stuff to get out of your system. Yeah, and like people will say, and I can understand sometimes like, oh, I only had like 2 or 3. Yeah, but you had 2 or 3 Long Islands.
Yeah.
Each shot that's
2 or
in
3
that.
Long Islands, bro.
Yeah, and those have like, 4 or 5 different kinds of liquor in it?
Yeah.
So there's like 4 drinks in 1 cup.
Oh, yeah.
And people don't understand that. It's like technically you've had 12 drinks.
And it depends on who's making it, too.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
But, and then the other thing, too, is like, I've been in classes before. I'm sure you have, too. It's technically not illegal to drink and drive. It's illegal to drive while impaired. So, because the classes I've been in, they're like, if you go to a restaurant, you sit down, and in a 1 hour time period, you have 2 beers, eat a meal, and then leave, are you impaired? And you can't really answer that because you're like, well, it depends on the person's system, how, how, if they're like a habitual drinker or if they're lightweight, how big they are. I mean,
yeah, there's all kinds of factors.
But like if I went in, had 2 drinks, ate a meal, and then an hour later left, there's like a 95% chance I won't be impaired. Now, if my wife had half of like a strawberry daiquiri, she would be blitzed.
No, she's lightweight, huh?
No, like, was it last February? We went on a cruise. That's the last time she's had a drink.
Oh, wow.
It just doesn't interest her. And like me with like, with Budweiser, I like the taste of it. So I can come home, eat dinner, and drink one, maybe just half of one, and I'm fine. But then there's some people, that they get home, they have to have a 12-pack. They may or may not eat dinner. And then kind of like that old boy. I stopped that one time, and I was like, hey, how much have you had? And he goes, only a couple, 12 packs. He starts from the time he wakes up until, he gets done with it. But anyway, we can get back on track. Could you imagine? Now put yourself in that situation. And I mean, you got to do what you got to do. And it also brings up the question, would he have still done it if he didn't have his body camera? Because think about it. How often back in the day before before even semi-auto revolvers came out, do you think this stuff happened?
Oh, yeah.
And people were like, or even to this day, I mean, with regular citizens, how often it happens.
Yeah.
So, and I know there's like officers that have like certain pet peeves and stuff that you don't do. Is that one of yours?
What's that?
The DUI?
Yeah.
You're going at them and hell's coming with you.
Yeah. There's so many options now, though. I mean, Uber, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
There's just different. There's really no reason. That's just like that. Wasn't it a Tulsa or another McAllister officer, wasn't it? That was hit here recently. That they had a McAllister, I believe, had a captain that passed away, and they were doing the procession. They were taking him back down, and somebody, I think they were drunk, but they turned into the oncoming traffic and hit that officer head on, took him out. So, yeah, there's no
We'll have more coming up on Code 0.5.
If you're looking for a political podcast that goes beyond the headlines, check out the Beltway Briefing. I'm Howard Schweitzer, CEO of Cozen O'Connor Public Strategies. Every week on the Beltway Briefing, our team of former Republican and Democratic presidential appointees, Capitol Hill veterans, and political advocates shares behind-the-scenes perspective that cuts through the noise. If you want the inside scoop, subscribe now to the Beltway Briefing here or wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, and I'd have to pull up the article because I don't know. Was he older?
I think it was a younger dude.
Because there was a guy last week that was driving northbound in the southbound lane. I actually think it was a woman. No, that person was intoxicated too.
I'm pulling it up now.
But I've had them, though, before where they're advanced in their age, you know, and
No, yeah, they don't realize.
they don't need to be driving.
So, yeah, that was like on a Friday, man. It says here that it's happened on Highway 75 near Glenpool, Oklahoma, which is about 15 miles south of Tulsa. News is saying that reported a truck traveling north on 75 didn't stop for a funeral procession and took evasive action trying to avoid a collision with stopped traffic. It said that during the evasive action, the truck driver crossed the center median, went through a guardrail, and hit the officer's car head on. Officers arrested the truck's driver. The driver and passenger in the truck refused medical treatment, but that officer is in critical condition. And this was part of a funeral procession for a captain of the McAllister Police Department who passed away suddenly earlier in the week. So, yeah, I thought he was going the wrong way in traffic, but I guess he crossed from the northbound lanes into the southbound lanes.
It says on here there's a quote from Officer Colby Barnett. It says, "I've lost 2 in the last year, and one needs prayers big time."
What's that one?
It said Barnett was also quoted as saying, "This isn't fair. The kid has a heart of gold, and we need a miracle."
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this guy was just going northbound or driving down the road, wasn't paying attention to all the stopped vehicles for the funeral procession, and he freaking tried to avoid hitting one, then hits a whole bunch of others.
Mm-hmm. Took himself across the median.
Yeah, and that's why people will throw a fit and say it's petty or whatever when we stop people for inattentive driving, texting and driving, and, you know, and it's like, this is why. It's like I try to explain to my kid, it's like, look, yes, you're 16 now, you have a car, but you do realize that that's like however much it weighs, 3,000 to 4,000 pound weapon.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not doing what you're supposed to, you could hurt somebody.
Yeah.
If not kill them.
Yeah. And we've lost, like recently, I wouldn't say recently, it's been some years back, but Nick Dees, who was with Delta Troop, which serves our area down here, he got hit on I-40.
Yeah.
And that dude was coming from Oklahoma City. I guess when they look back at his phone records, he had updated his Facebook status like 70 something times.
Oh, yeah.
Hit him that they were working a wreck on I-40 and he like plowed right into him.
Yeah. He updated his Facebook because it said it was some stupid number.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I don't think I've done it that many times in a year.
No. Like, what did you have going on that was that important?
Yeah, I don't know why I wanted to bring that one up.
Yeah, now we're getting all
bringing the lull down.
Yeah, the lull, the tone's getting sad down here, getting in your feelers.
Oh, did I tell you there's something while we're in this? Let's just go ahead and keep going. I found something stupid here recently. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. I don't know. This is a whole bunch of things put into one. This is a stupid criminal, someone that needs shot, and then and then whatever else you can imagine. But the title of the article, and I don't know if you guys ever get on Blaze Media.
Mm-mm.
It says California man allegedly busted with 900 child pornography images after wife found hidden camera and then turned him in to the police. His own wife turned him in. California man was arrested 900. Let's see, turned into the police by his wife after she allegedly found a hidden camera inside a bathroom at the couple's home.
What?
Why would he hide a camera in his own damn bathroom?
Because he's a
bathroom of their house. She confronted her husband about the hidden camera. He knew about the secret surveillance. She was pissed.
Oh, I bet.
He recorded their young children using the bathroom.
Sick bastard. Jeez, what is wrong with people, man? My God.
Holy crap. He was arrested on Thursday during a traffic stop after detectives obtained a warrant. Was charged with possession of child pornography and the recordings of an identifiable person who was undressed.
Mm.
The guy should have known that he was going to get in trouble.
Well, yeah.
There's a whopping 2,026% increase in child pornography cases between 96 and 2005, according to the FBI. Makes me think of that. You ever heard that joke? You ever see your buddy outside taking a leak? You tell him, hey, that's illegal. And then be like, what are you talking about? A grown man holding a child's.
Man, right before I started reserving for the department, the chief back then, which he's now at another agency. He's up there now. He's under sheriff, but he was patrolling around one day, and my oldest happened to, and he was, God, I don't remember how old he was. He was probably like 8 or 9 at the time. Anyway, the chief was patrolling around, and my youngest had to go, or my oldest had to go to the bathroom, and he ran outside and was trying to go by a tree, and that chief had passed, and he hit his air horn, scared the ever-loving dog out of him, dude. He peed all over himself. And then he caught me after. He thought it was funny. He caught me after. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, man. He's like, but you should have seen him jump. It was good stuff.
I think it was funny, too, especially he dribbles all over himself.
Oh, man, all over the front of his pants, everything.
I had a call one time that a guy was dropping his kid off at school, and after he dropped him off, he opened the door to his truck and stood out by his truck and took a leak, between the cab and the truck.
Mm-hmm.
So all these people inside were in uproar about it because they couldn't see anything, couldn't see what he was doing, but he was just, taking a leak.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of the guy. I was able to get his number and everything and called him, and he was like, dude, he goes, I had to go. He was like, I was like, don't they have restrooms inside? And he was like, I guess he was uncomfortable with having to ask them to use their restroom or something. I don't know. I was like, well, you could have went down to the convenience store. And he's like, dude, he goes, you don't understand. I just had to go. I was like, okay. And he was being cool. He was like, look, if I'm going to get in trouble or whatever, just let me know. I'll do whatever I need to. And I was like, okay. And at that time I called the district attorney and I was like, hey, what do you want to do about that? And he goes, well, was he running around in the parking lot waving it at people? And I was like, no. He goes, so he was just standing there taking a leak? I was like, yeah. He goes, he didn't look at anyone and said, hey, look at this, or wave it around or anything. And I was like, no, sir. And he was like, I'm not doing nothing about it.
You ever caught one speeding and their excuse has been they got to take a dump?
No.
That they're speeding because they're about to. And then you get over there and you're like, well, I'm sorry about that, but now we got to handle this, so then it's driver's license and they're screaming about it the entire time.
No.
And then,
I had that one.
Yeah. Great. No, I don't myself. All over myself.
Oh, well.
Well, sorry. You're going to be just a second. Dispatch is running behind today, too. You might want to roll the window down.
Nope, I haven't had that one.
Never had that one?
Mm-mm. I haven't even had anybody say that they had to go take a leak or anything.
Really?
Yeah, that's their excuse. most of the time I'm running late. And it's like, well, no matter how fast you're going, you're still going to be late.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah. You're still going to be that.
They ought to just pull like the truck driver thing. Just carry a Gatorade bottle with you.
Gatorade bottle.
And I guess if you're a chick, a Gatorade bottle and a funnel.
Oh man. We were talking about that the other day. I was on a signal 30 and I was there for a cool minute. And by the time, like, finally we had a transport. So I had hooked one up and I called Renix, and Renix went and transported them. And I was working this 30, and like the entire time, like it just kept, it was building and building. And by the time he got back, dude, my back teeth were floating. I was like, dude, I got to go. Hang here. I've got to go. And he's like, huh? What? I didn't even have time. I was yelling out the window, trying to haul back to the police department.
I've heard a couple of stories about a guy, and I'm not going to mention his name, but like there was one where I guess they went to a house because somebody had died. And while they were there, everybody was in the room where the guy was at, taking pictures and everything. And the guy was there by himself. And then the next thing they hear is a toilet flush. And everybody stops and turns around. And one of the officers comes walking out of there, and he stopped and he was like, "What? He ain't going to mind." And I was like, and that's just a story I heard. So it's like, okay, how true is this? And then I heard another one where, they were somebody was looking for someone or something. And I can't remember where I read this at. I bet if you looked it up, you could find it. But like the person was missing or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like somebody walked off like their back deck or whatever, one of the cops that was there, because they had to go, and they just went outside and they whipped it out and they started going. The next thing they know is they looked where their stream was landing, and that's where the guy's body was at.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm going to have to look it up. I can't remember where I found it at.
They looked where their stream was landing.
Yeah, because they're trying, like the person was looking over their shoulder to see if anybody was looking or whatever, and then he's just whipping it out and then just goes and he turns around and the stream was going right where it was at.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's not good. I bet you'd feel about that big.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine if it was like
guy.
Suspicious circumstances?
Oh, no.
His DNA is all over that body.
All over the place. How are you going to explain that one? Amy shows up. Smells like urine.
You're going to have to tell them, too, because they're going to find it.
See, what happened was, oh, man, that'd be some.
And, I heard a story here recently of one of the guys, and I thought this was cool that I worked with. I can't remember all the details about it, but they go to the house for a search warrant, and they ended up like there was 2 adults in the house, and both of them got arrested, and there was a couple of kids in the house. So they have to call DHS for a joint response thing, and wait while they're waiting on them to show up. Those kids were upset or complaining or whatever that they were hungry. Like they were little kids. And this guy I work with, I could not see him doing this, but I guess it's a true story. He goes in the kitchen and makes like bacon and eggs and stuff for these kids.
Done it.
And I was like, seriously?
Done it.
You've cooked breakfast for him?
Breakfast, dinner.
Oh, yeah. You told that story before.
We served that. We served a warrant. And of course, we had everybody, the 2 suspects were hooked up, and CID was talking to them, and the kids were hungry. And so we just like went in here, and so he's like, "What do we got?" And we saw what we had there, and we sent some people down to the store to get the rest of the makings that we needed to be able to do. Dude, we were in there freaking cooking it up. Sat them all down, got them all fed. Oh yeah.
All right, we're coming up on my what's this traffic stuff?
Yeah, Jason's traffic corner.
I guess we already did the stupid criminal thing when I did the talking about the dude with his images and
that guy
in his own damn house where his wife could see it and everything.
Doesn't matter. He needs his
shit kicked in.
Yeah, for real.
Sorry, Grandma.
It was his own kids. He needs worse than that. It's his own.
No
kids.
Kidding.
I mean, it's bad enough when it's somebody else's, but your own.
Yeah.
No, that dude just needs to be.
All right. Minimum speed regulation. We ain't attorneys. This ain't legal advice, and this is out of Oklahoma. No person shall drive a motor vehicle at such a slow speed as to impede the normal and reasonable movement of traffic, except when reduced speed is necessary for safe operation or in compliance with law.
Okay. Did you get all that, Tasha? Because I know you listen.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you can, as long as you're not going so slow that it's impeding the normal and reasonable movement of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And this also goes in line with the following too closely. Just because somebody's going a little slow doesn't mean you need to put your front bumper up their rear end.
Yeah. Yeah, I got yelled at about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I was trying to see a tag. I got we were in Shawnee, and I was like, what? And I tried to like get up on it. I forgot I was in my POV, and I'm like trying to get up on it to see it. And she's like, why are you riding their ass? I was like, oh yeah, wrong car.
On my way over here, there was a dang burnt orange Camaro in front of me that had some like writing in the back window. And they did that crap where they got onto the shoulder and then made a right turn. And I'm still in the lane, going to go right. And I'm like, okay, whatever, idiot. But then when they turn, they go into like the northbound lane a little bit and then come back into the southbound lane. Then they haul ass to speed up. I'm like, so I'm trying to get their tag. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the wrong vehicle.
Yeah. This ain't going to do me no good.
But all right, we're going to get out of here, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Later.
You have been listening to Code 0.5, the lighter side of police work. If you have ideas or suggestions for our show, we'd love to hear from you. Visit our website at code05.co. That's code05.co. And please consider making a donation at our Patreon page, patreon.com/code05. Be sure to use the digits 05. Thanks for listening to Code 0.5.